Hi, everybody. We've got a great audio interview today with Mandy Kanya. Mandy is one of our personal trainers, and she's also one of our boot camp coaches. Mandy has an amazing story, and we're not going to go super in depth into her story. She just wanted to share, and I asked her to as well, to share her nutrition journey that she's taken to change as dramatically as she has, and you're going to see some amazing pictures of her transformation. So without further ado, our great trainer, Mandy Kanya. Hey, Mandy, thanks for doing this. I know that a lot of people have been asking questions, and out at boot camp the other morning, one of the ladies had expressed that she had lost some weight and changed because of some advice that you had given her. So I know that there's a lot of people who are going to be bombarding you with emails and questions. So I said, let's just do an audio interview, put it out so that everybody can hear what you did, because you made some changes in your life, but we want to talk about some really interesting things about it, because we're going to answer the normal questions like what'd you eat and what'd you do. We're going to talk about some deeper things than that, like what it meant to you and things like that. So let's go through, and I'm going to show you. That is Mandy back in, what date was that?
That was January of 2006.
Okay. So that was a few years ago, and that was at your highest point, I think?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. And then click it again, and that is Mandy. How long ago? A week or two ago?
Roughly about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Okay, and it's July of 2011 as we speak, but something interesting that you said, Mandy, was that this didn't happen overnight, and this didn't happen in 6 months. How long did this take?
It's been 5.5 years since the day I decided that I was going to make a change.
Okay. And I think something important to point out is that the person in the picture before, and we're going to get into this more later because this is the discussion that Mandy and I were having as we were preparing to do this, is that you're the same person in both pictures, and that's still Mandy Kanya. And you are that, and it's not important what you look like. And so many people go into a diet thinking, go ahead and talk about that for a second.
People go into a diet thinking that, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this for a 6-week period, and I'm going to lose weight, and I'm going to look better. But I believe that they forget, the other aspects as far as how they're going to feel and the consistency that they're going to need in order to achieve, if it's a long-term goal or even if it's just 5 or 6 pounds. Neither one is going to be easy. But I do think that too many people go into it with the mindset of just wanting to look better versus wanting to feel better or just have a healthy lifestyle in general.
That's good. Okay. There's another picture of you lifting. How much are those dumbbells?
Those are 70.
And you said you've done it with 90s before.
I have.
Okay, so if I grab the 90s right now, I'd be struggling, I think, more than you. That's darn good. One thing I want to say, though, is don't be intimidated by that, because that took you a long time to get.
Yes.
And you are 24 years old. You just turned 24. So Mandy's young, and she has the time to do this. But so what's important is that I want to ask you some of the main basic questions that everyone's going to want to know. If we don't touch on these, and they're going to be bombarding you with emails. But how often do you eat during the day? The truth. Because I'd recommend that people eat 5 to 6 times a day. What do you do?
On a normal daily basis, between breakfast and lunch, typically it's 4 or 5 hours. It should be sooner, but depending on my time schedule, 4 or 5 hours in between that. And I often have an afternoon snack by 4 o'clock. And then depending on what my activity level was for the day, if I have a bigger dinner or if I had a bigger lunch, sometimes I'm only eating maybe every 4 hours. Some days I'm hungrier than others, and I will have eaten lunch at, let's say, noon, and by 1:30 I'm starving. So it varies day to day.
So it's not a set thing that's so rigid that if you don't eat every 3 hours, you're going to fail. And I think that's something that when I'm doing the seminars, I will always talk about you have to eat every 3 hours. And, there's recent research that shows that's not necessarily true. What worked for you more so was not so much the eating frequency, but it was what you ate and your consistency, right?
Yeah, mostly.
Okay. What do you eat? Give us a typical day of what a day looks like for you.
We'll go through this morning, or we'll go through today. This morning for breakfast I had 2 boiled eggs and 2 egg whites. I had blueberries, peaches, and bananas in a mixture equaling probably to 1.5 cups or 2 cups even. Morning time is about whenever I have the most fruit. Let's see, if for a snack I had...
Now, you just got done with a boot camp workout when you do that.
Yes, I had just got done with a boot camp workout. So that was about 8 o'clock that I'd eaten, and wasn't hungry again until close to 1, which is a little longer than you probably should, but that's what was working for me. It's how my body felt. And then for lunch I had I eat a lot of deli meat only because it's easy. I live alone. It's not necessarily, hard to get. You can go and do that. It's easy to portion out. So I had about 4 ounces of deli meat. I had 2 boiled egg whites, a little bit of yogurt for just a sweet tooth, and I don't remember what else.
One of our great trainers, Christian Lynch, talks about not eating fruit. And the Atkins diet and some of the popular diets are really big on that. And I want to put in there that you did eat that right after your boot camp workout, which is fine. Where are you with that? And let me make my point real quickly is I'm fine with people eating fruit. People that are more in the paleo diet, Atkins and things like that, will cut fruit, even including tomatoes and carrots and things like that. But you eat those and you succeeded, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're okay doing that?
Yes.
Okay.
I also at lunch had, I always have a vegetable at lunch. It helps me stay a little bit more full, I guess, to the afternoon. And I try to always include more vegetables in my diet than I do fruit.
Do you like vegetables?
Yes.
You do? Okay, because a lot of people don't like vegetables, including me.
Well, I haven't always liked vegetables, though.
So, okay, did you learn to like them then?
Yes. There was no option.
Why was there no option?
I mean, from everything that I had read, because I did do a little bit of research before I started eating that way, from everything that I had read, that you have to have the phytochemicals and all the things that are in vegetables in order for the oxidation, like for fat to go away.
Okay. Yeah.
And anyway, I learned a little bit about it, and I don't know, I started seeing more results when I ate more vegetables, and the more different varieties and different ways of preparing them, whether it's raw or cooked, I found ways to incorporate them until I did like them.
And so now you like them because you started eating them and got used to it.
Yeah, and I actually have some days if I've eaten too much junk, on the weekends, of course.
What's junk? What's your favorite junk?
You're gonna laugh. Graham crackers and strawberry cream cheese, which is not it's not even too terrible, but it's something that gets the crunchy.
Are you picky? I don't think you are you?
Not a very picky eater.
Yeah, I see you eating a lot of different things when you're here in the training studio. So, what recommendations do you have for your clients that you're working with that are picky?
Try and pick out the things that you do like. If you don't like olive vegetables, give it a try one more time because your taste buds can change. Like I said, I haven't always liked them. And the more I kind of forced myself, in a sense, to eat them, started to like them. So if you're picky, too bad. I mean, you're going to have to start. There are some things that you're going to have to learn to like. But I would recommend finding the things that you do like, and if there's anything in there that's probably not the best for you, to cut it out.
Something you said that was interesting when you just said tough. You're going to have to learn to like them. As trainers that have been through, and you certainly, and I know Christian and all our trainers, and I've been through at least a little bit of changes in my life. A lot of times we just go, you know what? Sometimes we just got to tough it out and say, I'm just going to eat this. If I want to look this way and be this way, otherwise if I keep eating that same way and being picky, I'm going to keep staying the way that I was. So,
how many other things in life do you not want to do or not like to do?
But you have to do it. Exactly.
And I don't believe that your nutrition should be any option as far as that.
I agree.
Provided that you have these goals.
True. When you go to the grocery store, when you walk in, I think, because we study this and we do this for a living, we get almost overwhelmed because we know too much. So when you go into the grocery store, what do you do? So usually you start in produce, but what do you look for and what do you buy typically?
I always try to. I could spend about 10 to 15 minutes just in the produce aisle. I always go in with a list and try really hard not to steer away from that. And I think about, for example, I will walk into Kroger and I go directly to the vegetables, and I know that I need cucumbers and everything else that I really like.
What else? What else do you buy?
Cucumbers, broccoli, carrots, and I like to buy the bags that are already made, even if I'm not going to use them for steaming. It makes it really good and easy to toss them in a plastic bag if you want just half of that bag, take them with you as a snack. I also will get just a head of cauliflower because it's cheap and it's really easy to prepare if you know good recipes for that stuff. As far as like other, not necessarily convenience, well, I guess it would be convenience. I buy canned vegetables, but only green beans. Not for any particular reason, only because I really like green beans. But I can spend a lot of time in the produce, and as far as the fruits, I eat a lot of apples, I eat a lot of berries, and I stay away from melons, not because they're bad for you, but only because it's just not a preference.
Bad for you in that sugar?
Sugar. Actually, they're not as high in sugar, from what I understand. But I stick with the berries more often. They're more fibrous.
They're the best, yeah.
And they fill me up better.
Okay. What about meats? You go through the butcher section and you buy...
I guess that would be where my pickiness would come in a little bit, as I'm not a pork eater. I don't care for beef all that much. For example, steak, it's not an appetizing thing to me. Chicken is great. Typically, if I'm, depending on what I'm cooking, I go for chicken breast, or even they sell the tenderloins, which are really easy. They're fast to cook and they thaw out fast because they're thin. I always buy chicken, period. Always fresh. I try not to buy the stuff that's already frozen. They're huge and they're hard to portion out as well. But I'll go to the deli and get either sliced turkey or sliced chicken even. I try to always go for a lower sodium. Boar's head is more expensive, but it does taste better, and it's also, less preservatives and etc. Other than that, I'm really a chicken or a turkey eater. I'll eat beef every now and then. I'll buy ground beef, but that's once in a blue moon when I feel like it.
Good, thank you. All right, do you go out to eat? Lunch, dinner?
If I told you the last time I went out to eat, it may have been, I guess it was this last week for my birthday. And I try to keep it to when I'm out of town. If when my family wants to go out to eat, of course, I don't just not go. How often? Very, very rare.
And I think that's key, because it's so hard, I know, for me, when you go, because you don't know what you're getting on your plate when you choose it, yeah. You
don't. And although there are options that you think you're getting a healthy a choice off of their menu, when really it could be one of their worst. So all in all, I don't eat out all that often. And when I do, I either try to do my best as far as choosing something, or I even try to steer clear of the restaurants that I know for a fact don't have anything that I may be able to or want to eat, for that matter.
Good. Thank you. Weekends, that's the big hard part, because we're off our schedule, and maybe we have no schedule on that day. We sleep to when we want to, and those with kids, a little bit more scheduled weekend. But what on your weekends, do you stay on the same eating pattern on a Saturday and Sunday, or do you change it?
I think it changes, just because I wouldn't say that it changes a whole lot as far as what I'm eating, but it would be maybe how often I'm eating. Typically on a Saturday, I do get up and work out on Saturday morning, so that alone helps me stay on track, at least for breakfast. And if I can stay on track for at least breakfast and halfway for lunch, then I don't feel so near as bad if Saturday night I go out and have a dinner with my family. Typically I'm on the road Saturday afternoons, so it makes it hard to eat too often. Not necessarily by choice, but just, you're traveling and it's not that easy. So on the weekends, I do let myself splurge. I don't eat a lot of processed carbohydrates during the week, so, my little treats I will have on the weekends. Candy here and there with kids is hard to stay away from.
You have kids?
No, I have nieces, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right.
So with kids around.
I want to clarify, and just in case people are listening and saying, I didn't know Mandy was married. Do you have a cheat day? And a cheat day, obviously, that's a pretty popular term, and I use that. A lot of people hate the word cheat, because if you give yourself permission, it's not cheating. So do you have a fun day or a fun meal or a free meal?
I don't plan one.
Okay.
And I don't plan one because, believe it or not, even though I'm a very structured person, if I plan to have a cheat meal at 6 o'clock Friday night with my friends and it doesn't happen, then I've already, in my mentality, I kind of, I've eaten really, really good, so if for some reason I don't go, then I might overdo it on my own, or the next day may have said, okay, well, I didn't have that cheat meal, so maybe I'll go tomorrow. So basically, I don't plan it, because in a real life situation, if you never know when you're going to come up to a point when all you have something is your quote-unquote cheat meal.
It's true. So you just leave it when it comes.
Yep, and I also leave it to craving, and I know that's not the best. However, for example, I have not had very many starchy carbohydrates as far as breads and pastas, and I feel it coming on that I'm going to want graham crackers, for example, something with grains, and that's how I know that, okay, I need to let myself have a little bit before it's a nightmare.
Awesome. Quick lunch, middle of the day. You always bring your lunch, don't you?
Well, yes and no. Sometimes I forget, or I hadn't been to the grocery store.
All right, so where do you go then, or what do you do?
Well, I don't go out. I go to the nearest grocery store.
Good.
This is every time, too. I really don't like to go out to eat, but for a quick lunch, I go to the deli. I have them slice me 4 ounces of chicken or turkey, whichever one I please. I go straight to the produce section. A lot of times we'll buy the pre-made bags of broccoli and carrots, or even the sugar snap peas and carrots, because they're more crunchy and they're sweeter, and they sometimes just taste better that day. Sometimes I'll grab an apple and a yogurt, and I keep spoons in my car.
I think we forget that the grocery store can also be our place where we go out to eat for lunch, even though it's not as relaxing and fun. And if you're with a friend, that wouldn't really make as much sense to do that. But so you go to the grocery store, grab those things, and then come back to the office, I assume.
Yes.
Okay. What has, and maybe we're jumping ahead of ourselves, maybe we want to leave this to the end, but what has nutrition enabled you to do now in your life? And so looking at these 2 pictures, really important, and I think we made that point up front, and let's talk about this a little bit more, but you're the same person. That's still Mandy in there. But what are you able to do physically, maybe mentally, spiritually, that you weren't able to do before?
Well, I think that the nutrition for sure has enabled me to be a healthier individual all around, and I can tell you that in the before picture, there's no way that I could have lifted the kind of weight I'm lifting now. Not because it looks different, but because the food I was intaking and putting in my body was not giving me the energy that I needed. I feel like now, having learned, I guess you could say, to like these different foods and the better nutrition for that matter, I feel a little stronger in myself as far as self-control and discipline, and as far as, in a sense, it'll make you feel unstoppable to a certain extent. As far as other, enabled me, it just kind of gives me, I don't know, it gives me a good sense of a good feeling inside that, hey, I feel healthier.
I can tell a difference in you when I've known you over the time, and you change for sure. All right, another picture of Mandy doing pull-ups. You can see her back, and Mandy's proud of her back. I am. I mean, it's just amazing watching her do pull-ups because, with the fat that you've lost in your body just shows the muscles that you have. Let's talk about this. When you were in that before picture and you decided, because you said that picture was taken a week before you decided to change, what was your goal at that point and why? And then what has been your goal resetting as you've gone along?
My initial goal was to lose weight, and it was all about appearance. It had nothing to do with my health. It was more so I was 17 years old and needed to lose weight so boys would like me, or so because in society it's not acceptable in order to look that way, and in other people's perception that is not the way you should look. And so it was kind of my initial goal was just to lose weight and look better. And when I went into it with just that mentality for the first month, I had a really hard time. It wasn't coming off fast enough, and my motivation was lagging because, my only goal was to look better, and in 6 weeks I didn't. But my goals have changed now. I guess throughout, over the first year, I had lost roughly, I don't know, 50 pounds or so. I'm not really sure. From there, it kept just being a weight loss goal, and I kept losing weight, but I still didn't look good. I still didn't feel good. I didn't have the muscle structure that I've got now. And then I decided that I needed to, I started reading some magazines and wondering, how do these girls look this way? And when I read more, I learned that weight training was really important. And then once I got really into the weight training more, that's whenever I decided on my goals to be strong and to perform better in a sense. I wanted to be the athlete that I'd always wanted to be in life.
In that last slide, you were lifting 70-pound dumbbells. And look in this picture, you're not big.
No.
Most women think if they lift heavy weights, they're going to get big.
Right.
And you're not big.
Well, if you put the right food in your body, you won't.
That's exactly right. That's awesome. Okay. Where did this discipline come in you? Where did you learn this? Where did it come from? And is it always there every day, all the time? Talk about the discipline, because I know that's where a lot of people can be perfect for a day or two or a week or month, and then boom, life gets in the way and we take two, 3 steps back.
Well, by no means was I perfect through any of this, but as far as my discipline, I could not pinpoint one specific thing. I do know that, and I hope it doesn't offend, but my faith, as far as believing and knowing that none of it was in my control was a big part of it. And I kept on thinking to myself that, this is something that I really want to do. And then the other side of me wanted to just prove everyone wrong, because it was more so about, everyone starts a diet plan and then they slack off and then they don't, but I wanted to be the one, I guess, for myself in general as well, to prove wrong that yes, I can do it. And so my mentality took a complete flip. And I don't know, with some of that other discipline, I guess you could call it support as well.
From who?
My mom was very supportive, my family, and also just friends in general. And when I say friends in general, the true friends and the close friends that I had were supportive as well. My roommates when I was in college. Just having a support system and surrounding myself with the people who had the same similar goals really helped. Just meeting people in the gym versus meeting them at the bar.
Very good. What happens when you want to have an extra graham cracker with strawberry cream cheese?
I have it.
Okay. And you don't worry about that?
No.
Okay.
I guess in a sense it'll ride on me in the back of my mind if I had too much, but I also have to think of it from a realistic standpoint that tomorrow's a new day.
So you don't deny yourself, and if you do, you don't feel guilty, and you just move on.
Right. But at one point I did feel guilty.
I remember at some point, and this wasn't that long ago, when you started really changing, and I noticed it. I remember you saying, I stopped worrying about it so much and just lived. I'm consistent with my exercise, I'm consistent with my nutrition, and I don't worry about little setbacks anymore.
Right. For example, I think that stress has a lot to do with anyone with weight gain. It can cause a number of problems, and I think I stressed myself out more worrying about if I ate one too many graham crackers, when so what? And it happens, and if it wasn't a graham cracker, it would have been something else without you even realizing it.
Sure.
It would have been a hidden something or another. And I think when I kind of relaxed and wasn't so uptight about it, that my stress went away, which in turn I probably didn't eat as much as I thought in the first place, but when I was so worried about it, it only escalated.
Yeah. All right. So let me go back. Let's go. That was the last one. Okay. One thing I want to say, Mandy, I've known you for a long time, and you're very humble in your achievements that you make. But obviously, you have done a tremendous job. However, what you had said before we started this interview was, to me as a trainer and doing this interview, that I want you to get across to people, is that the way you look before and after doesn't change who you are. It doesn't do anything more than just help you be a better person, a better being, and better throughout the day, and you feel better about yourself. So really you started, at first your goal was about weight, and then after that it started being more about health and being fit and healthy so that you could be happy and fulfilled in your life. Isn't that right?
Right. I wanted to be able to do things like get up onto a horse.
Yeah.
And when you're too heavy, you can't.
Yeah.
Or even, I know it may sound cliche, but getting into a roller coaster. Those are all things that at 17 I shouldn't have had to worry about. And when I decided that, hey, I want to go ride the roller coasters, it was kind of a wake-up call.
All right. If anyone wants help from Mandy, now she's not a registered dietitian, but she is a trainer, and I can tell you, and I'm not saying this because she's one of our trainers, but she's a phenomenal trainer, because I'll tell you that a lot of the workouts that I do with people that when I'm training them come from Mandy, because she's gotten to be a master of creating workouts that work, but also you understand what people go through and the journey of what it takes and the ups and downs. How do they get a hold of you for more help?
Email is probably the best way, I would say.
And what's your email?
It is kana.mandy, mandy@gmail.com.
So there you have it.
You can email me, and if it, anything else, then I'll make that decision.
If we can help, let us know. Mandy has taken an amazing journey, and she's a changed person because of it. Mandy, thank you so much for doing this. I know this isn't always easy and fun to do, but I hope that this serves and helps a lot of people. I know that it will. You're an inspiration to us all. Thank you, Mandy.
Well, thank you.